Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This episode 144, Turbo from 2013? Hold on. Turbo from 2013. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too. And this episode is brought to you by Intel Turbo Memory. Intel Turbo Memory is a technology introduced by Intel Corporation that uses NAND flash memory modules to reduce the time it takes for a computer to power up, access programs, and write data to the hard drive. Shout out Intel Turbo Memory.
Well, shout out Intel Turbo Memory, and welcome to Animation Week here on Too Fast, Too Forever. Later in the week, we will be covering Finding Nemo, originally part of our Reef Week, before that was upended by some interview or other. But we are now here, Animation Week, Turbo today, Finding Nemo on Friday. But before we get there, extracurricular activities. Joe, what have you been up to? We haven't done this in a full week because we had our bonus, not our bonus, but our bonus Comic-Con panel in between. So what have you been up to in the last week?
Normally, like, watching sports and stuff. Rachel and I have been watching more Knife Show, as Kara likes to call it. She told us that she calls it Knife Show. We finished Season 3 of Amazing Race. Again, spoilers for a 20-year-old reality TV show. The girl that was falling in love with a member of another team.
Is there one of these or two of these? I thought there was two of these.
Yes. There was one last season where she was with her separated husband, or ex-husband, and she, was hooking up with a guy on the team. This time, there was Double Mint Gum twins that were models, and she was in love with one of them. And so there's, 4 teams left. The Double Mint twins fuck up. They do this thing where they start following them, but, you can't check into the end unless you, find the clue, right? If you go to the end, that doesn't mean anything. You had to do the stops along the way. They see them get on this boat, and they, go across with them. It doesn't matter because they don't have the piece in between that. They have to go back and find this thing. They come back. They're eliminated. So the girl's, super sad. And for, the whole next day, all she does is just bitch and moan that, she doesn't want to do this anymore. And the other, her partner, Amazing Race boyfriend, is gone. He's like, come on, let's just try to finish this. And she's like, I can't do it. And she's, crying the whole time. They, get to the end, and they're only, 2 hours behind, the first 2 teams, because now there's only 3 teams. And then they fucking win. She was, ready to quit. She was like, I don't want to do this anymore. With 3 teams left, she's like, I just want to go home. I'm done with this. And the other guy's like, come on, let's just, finish it out. We're, at the end here. And then they won. I was kind of disappointed by that. Today, I drove back home. I came to visit my parents in Pittsburgh.
Oh, you drove. Okay.
Yes, we drove back home. So Rachel and I are here in Pittsburgh right now.
Do you normally drive? I mean, I knew that you guys flew when your dad had his thing because it was we need to get there as soon as we possibly can, but...
If I was coming back to visit, typically I would drive. It's about an 8-hour drive. So it's a little bit more than I'm comfortable with. And with airline miles and stuff, normally I would fly. But right now, I don't want to be in an airport if I don't have to be, right?
Right.
We're here for the weekend just to hang out with them. I want to get a good visit in before the weather gets shitty, because it's it's starting to get cold in the Northeast. And I'm starting to get a little nervous about snow and ice and stuff. So I wanted to just make sure that I was here and visited them before... maybe we get kind of excommunicated, especially if we have to drive, right? Got a pizza from Fiore's, which is a famous Pittsburgh pizza place. The pizza douche, you guys can deduce who I mean by that, was there on his pizza review show the other day and reviewed it, had delightful pizza and some other stuff, and now I'm just here with you recording.
Anything else of note, or is that about it?
We're going to be here this weekend. It's going to be fun to watch the Steelers game here, being in Pittsburgh, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Obviously, the city's, pretty hype right now. I saw a funny tweet the other day. I sent it to Rachel. One of the Steelers sports writers was like, I went to go get coffee this morning, and I got an Amazon package and a FedEx package delivered. All 3 experiences had, because they knew who he was. They was all 3 experiences, somebody asked me, is Ben okay? Will he play on Sunday? The girl at Starbucks, your Amazon delivery guy, all of them know that he has a connection. He's everybody's is Ben okay? Is he going to play? Because, he had a COVID proximity scare this week, so...
Oof. Who are they playing this week?
The Bungles. So this is a trap game for us. If you're a Steelers fan, I'm sure that you have these weird quirks too, but Steelers fans are always petrified of playing teams that are bad. Because we have a long history of losing to, there was a stat the other day that was Tomlin is 12-10 against teams that are 4 games behind 500. That's a really weird, bad stat.
Yep.
Like, if a team's like 4 games lower than 500, you should be winning 95% of these games. But no,
Right.
I'm biting my nails all weekend, and hopefully, who knows? I'm fully convinced that we're going to lose this one, so.
Yeah, but you're also 8-0, so like I'm not gonna actually listen to you worry. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, we're bound to lose one eventually, and now will be a good time. So, yeah, do it.
I have been watching a ton of things. Well, now that I have a PS5, which I'll talk about, I have been
Cool.
watching fewer things, but I was watching a lot of things because I knew that I was getting, like, we were basically entering gaming season, sort of.
We
But
are,
I've been
yeah,
watching a lot of
with the new
movies to catch up.
consoles.
This is not going to come as a surprise to anybody who likes concert films, but I watched this week two that were great. They're both Talking Heads related. Have you ever seen Stop Making Sense?
Dude, so I read I'll Be Gone in the Dark. We've watched like half the documentary, which is a little bit different than the book, right? And as we were driving today, we were listening to I'll Be Gone in the Dark on book on tape because Rachel's never read it. And she references that movie in the fucking book.
A lot of people consider it like the best concert film of all time.
I didn't know about it, and like it's just weird that I heard this today, and then you bring it up. Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
So Jonathan Demme, who directed Silence of the Lambs, did this a couple years before.
Wow.
Like this kind of set him on the path to becoming a thing, and like it's just so much fun. Adam Scott and Scott Aukerman on their music podcast that changes bands are now doing Talking Heads. They did U2, they did REM, now they're doing Talking Heads. So I've been listening to them talk about Talking Heads. So I wanted to listen. I wanted to watch this.
Okay.
I've been meaning to for a while. 90 minutes or maybe a little bit more. I think it's on. This is on Amazon Prime, and it's so much fun. Everybody, it's just like it's nonstop energy from the beginning to the end. Like it's crazy how well it's edited
What are
and
some
cut
Talking
together.
Head songs that I would know? Like, what are like the famous ones?
Once in a Lifetime. This
Okay.
must be the place.
Rachel just giggled at me in the background. She was like, "What are you doing?" I like off the top of my head, I couldn't name one Talking Head song. She says I know very many of them.
So the theme song. This is not a Talking Head song exactly, but the theme song to Cruise Club and Hanks of the Memories, which I know you've listened to every one of those podcasts.
Yes, exactly.
Because it was the Tom Tom Club. There's a spin-off of the Talking Heads called the Tom Tom Club. A couple of members in the band made this other thing when David Byrne of the Talking Heads did his own thing. But they wrote this song called Genius of Love, which was bigger than anything. So you would know that song even if you don't know it by name. You know, they were mostly around in the late 70s and early to mid 80s, and so this concert film is amazing. And then David Byrne has done a lot of different projects since then, and he also just came out like in the last 2 weeks maybe on HBO Max. They put out American Utopia, which is a Broadway show that he did that Spike Lee directed the film
Wow.
of. It was also really, really great.
Okay.
So those are the best things that I've seen this week because I've seen a lot of
Cool.
things that were not great, but those are the things that I saw that were my favorites of the week. And so Demi Dijuibe, who we have talked about on here a lot,
Yes.
he wrote the Night Before Fast and Furious, whatever. He was on the Talking Heads pod talking about American Utopia. And so I was looking at what he wrote on Letterboxd, and he was comparing David Byrne, the front man of Talking Heads, to
Okay.
like a children's entertainer, like kind of like Mr. Rogers or like Raffi, where it's just like he just has such infectious positive energy, and he's also like a real son of a bitch, and like he treated his bandmates like shit, and was just like a maniac at times.
Oh.
In these things, he's just so joyful and so cheerful and just overall wonderful. And I can't recommend them both. As long as you like the kind of music, I think you will enjoy it. You know, even if you don't know the songs, it's just so much fun to watch these two. Stop Making Sense is on Prime for free, and American Utopia is on HBO Max for free. So as long as you have those services, you can watch both of these legally for free, which is pretty cool. So
Yeah.
those are my recommendations this week. But the other thing, so I have not yet gotten an Xbox. I have been so close so many times in carts. I have one from Amazon I'm going to get this year at some point, but it's just annoying that whatever.
How did you pre-order it and then not get it on release day? Like, what the
Well,
fuck
so
is that?
pandemic has really hurt supply chain in a lot of ways, and so I think
Yes,
there
yeah.
are fewer than they want. But I pre-ordered as quickly as I possibly could, as soon as you possibly could, and I still don't have one. And not only that, but Amazon does not have a date for it, which I know is a very first world problem to complain about, but it's also
Lame.
there's no way that I could have ordered it more quickly.
This reminds me of the Seinfeld that obviously you don't know about, but there's a Seinfeld episode that we laugh about a lot because Jerry's in a rental car place and they don't have his car.
Like there's a meme of that going around this week about these. Yes.
Oh, is there? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, but yeah, it's like you see you have the reservation, but you don't know how to keep the reservation. So like,
Yes.
you have my pre-order, but what does the pre-order mean if you don't let me pre-order it? You know, like that's the whole, yeah.
But I got the PS5 yesterday, Thursday,
How
as
is
this
it?
comes out. It's great. So all I've played so far is I bought 3 games, but the one I've been playing so far is the free one that comes with it. It's this thing called Astro's Playroom, which is great, and it's
Is
just
it?
essentially a demo system game kind of thing of like what the controller, what the system can do, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's really cool. And for a free game, it's really fun.
It's not Toyota Camry driver or whatever.
Toyota Prius, no.
Yeah.
Toyota Yaris. Toyota Yaris. Yes, no, not that. No, this is actually really good. Really well reviewed and really good, really fun. I encourage anybody who gets a PS5 to play it. But I spent actual money. So here's the other thing. This sounds braggy in like how much money I'm spending, but it's not. Like this is my vacation money that I'm spending on this instead.
Yeah, yeah.
Video games for like 15 years have been $60. Like they went, I think, for
Yep.
the 360 generation, they went from $50 most of them to $60 most
Yes.
of them, right? Up through the Xbox and PS2 and GameCube era, games were 50. And then beyond that, they were kind of 60. And now for the first time, which it's I guess overdue, games are 70 now. But there's
Ugh.
something about buying a game and seeing it be 75, like 75 with
Oh, yeah.
tax. And it's like, oh, that is so much money. And
Yes.
so I'm like, I gotta fucking play these games because I have a habit of like buying games and not playing them. But like when it's a $75 game, I better
Yeah.
play that goddamn game.
$75 for games now. Jesus Christ. I'm so glad I don't have kids.
But the good news though is that with both Game Pass on Xbox and now the PlayStation Collection, the PS Plus Collection or whatever on PS5, like they give you so many games for free, like with what you're paying for anyway. Like you just like it's essentially
Cool.
like Netflix for games. So like I don't think I'm going to buy a lot of games. Like I'll be buying digital games that are cheaper, like 10, 20, $30 games, whatever.
Yeah,
But
Spelunky.
foresee, yeah, exactly. I don't foresee spending $60 or $70 on a lot of games because like the new Halo comes out, but that's gonna be included in Game Pass. So, like I don't pay anything for that, and I get Game
That's
Pass
cool.
for free through Bing anyway. So like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many games that even if you just have like you're like I have $500, I want to buy the system, but if you have Game Pass, you have 100 something games for free, and now all the EA games are on there for free. So like
That's
it's
awesome.
there's a really good value. So games are crazy expensive, but you've never needed to buy fewer games than now.
It's kind of similar because like back in the day we used to buy all the used games, right? And then like they would always
hmm
be like $5 used games, and now you have, a subscription, which everything moved to subscription anyways, so fuck it, who cares?
So that's basically been what I'm doing. I'm going to finish up The Last of Us Part 2 now that I have the PS5, so I'll play it on there. Like PS4 games look a little bit better, they load a little bit faster, so I've not played that yet, but I'm going to either dive into that after we're done tonight or more likely over the weekend. But
Cool.
we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so now video game season is underway. Still going to be watching things, but check out if you like Talking Heads or just rock music in general. Stop Making Sense is like one of the most obvious. Like anybody who is like even remotely interested in that, like yeah, of course. Like it's the most
Yeah.
famous, like most well regarded, whatever. But the American Utopia one is newer and really good. So
Cool.
check those out. Speaking of checking things out, check out our Patreon page, toofast2forever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellenin, Alex who picked this episode's movie, Turbo, Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Christian Larson, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke Hayden, Renato DiDonato, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Who's supporting us at the $5 level or above. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
We are nearing the end of this lap, slowly but surely. I just keep saying that, but if you want picks the next 3 laps, if you want to know what next year's themes are, toofast2forever.com. Go do that thing over there. We also have an email address on the show, family@cageclub.me. And Joe, we have 5 emails today.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But it's been
It's
a
been
week, so yeah.
It's been a week. First up from Wells Lamont, subject line, the 4th one.
The fourth one. Okay.
What an opening scene to 4, riveting stuff. I do
Yeah.
feel bad for the guy driving the gas tanks. Him and his iguana weren't looking for trouble.
No, just driving gas.
They mentioned Rio and Tokyo about a minute apart from each other. They knew what they were doing the whole time with these movies.
Ooh.
I think I appreciate 4 more now. I think it was necessary for the franchise for this movie to be the way it was. Dark and no 2F2F or Tokyo Drift shenanigans. Brian, chasing the David Park snitch through the apartment building as I write this. I'm actually over the initial shock and disappointment I felt when I first saw Brian's wavy blonde hair not on top of his head anymore. Being this invested in the franchise has opened my eyes to the genius of 4. 1 was fun, 2 was fun, 3 was fun, 4 is all business, and then them letting you know the direction they plan on going.
I think he's been listening to us. He sounds like he's been listening to us a little bit.
I know this is asking too much, but sometimes I feel like the ranking system should be your order of 1 through 3, and then 4 through 8 plus Hobbs and Shaw. 1, 2, and 3 are fun, and the rest are action movies. They're so different. The more I watch them, the harder it gets to leave 6 out of the top 3. But like I said, I'll probably never switch my top 5. Now that said, do you consider 1 to be more like 2 and 3, or more like 4 to 8?
You know what? Now that I thought about it, I think that 2 and 3 kind of separate themselves, and 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are their own thing. Although 1 fits so well with 2 and 3. What do you think? I really think it might fit better with the action movies. It's a hard question. That's a really hard
think
question.
It's closer to 2 and 3, but I also think if we're splitting things out, I think you can maybe split 1 and 4 out also. Because I think 1 is like 4, in that it's a little bit of 1, a little bit of 2, in like the early ones, the later ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I had to pick, I would say it's probably the earlier ones. I think Wells is splitting it out into the early movies versus, because we always talk about it's car movies versus action movies.
Yes.
And it's more action, but it's more of a car movie. Like, it's more action than like Too Fast or Tokyo Drift, but I think it's also just more a car movie.
I was splitting them kind of like which ones stand alone, and I think 2 and 3 kind of stand alone.
Sure, no,
like,
absolutely, yeah.
That's a really hard question. I never thought about that before. I need to think on it a little bit more, but I can see either argument. Like, if you sprung this on me either way, I wouldn't tell anybody they were wrong either way.
So here are his new rankings. My new order, he says, from least to best, despite what I just said. And then he also says, my order from least to best if we split them up, which is the same order, kind of, but like split together. Okay, so here we go. From the bottom is number 9, Furious 7.
Wow, we've gone really cold on Furious 7, haven't we?
I know, I think we've tainted people.
I think so too.
That was his old number 8, so he already didn't like it. Number 8, Hobbs and Shaw. That was his old number 5. That has fallen.
Wow.
Number 7, Too Fast.
That's
that was
low.
his old number.
Like
that was his
Too
old
Fast.
number 3. That fell a lot.
Wow.
Number 6, 4, which went up from 9 all the way up to 6.
Big moves. Big moves.
Number 5, Fate of the Furious.
Okay.
Which went up a couple from 7 to 5. So far, not one of these has been in the same spot. But he says his top 5 don't change, so we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Number 4, Fast and Furious 6, which moved up 2 from 6 to 4.
Okay.
Number 3, the original, went up from 4 to 3.
Okay.
Number 2, Tokyo Drift, in the same spot. And number 1, Fast 5, same spot.
Yeah.
So then he has, if you split them up, from least to best, 2, 1, 3, and then 7, 4, 8, 6, 5. Or if you had Hobbs and Shaw in there, 7 Hobbs, 4, 8, 6, 5. Okay, Bro Sips, until next time, peace.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, it's weird. I think we're influencing people too much.
Well, it's just hundreds of hours of listening to us. I don't think it's that they're like... And
plus,
plus, we're influenced by them too. It's not like they're just...
That's true. That's very true. The emails do play a role. And guests, for sure, have changed our perspective on a lot of things. So
next email from Alex Ellenin, subject line, Dom's a poser.
What up, Alex? How are you doing, buddy?
At the beginning of Furious 7, when the package from Tokyo shows up, Dom says, Tokyo? What's Han trying to convert me over to a turbocharger? In the first movie, he drives an RX-7, which is a twin-turbo rotary engine.
Yep.
At the beginning of 4, he's driving a Buick GNX during the gas heist in the DR, another turbo car. Dominic Toretto is not a role model, kids. He's a damn loser.
He's a hypocrite. What a hypocrite.
Damn.
Jeez.
Damn.
That is really funny, though. What is he gonna do? Try to convert me to a turbo? Like, bro, you have a fucking He was driving imports. Like, this is the whole thing. That, like, he's, king muscle car, but, like, you had an RX-7. So, like, stop pretending, bro.
Our next email from Jerry Robinson, subject line, birthday. He attaches 3 pictures I just put in Discord. Hey, guys, so today, the 7th, is my birthday, the big 3-1. Good vibes the whole day. So his birthday is right around Justin's.
It is. That's very, very close.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, brother. If we would have known, we would have shouted you out earlier, but happy birthday to you, my friend.
He says, I made $60 turning in recycling. Biden's our new president. Ileana got me some Dragon Ball clothing, parentheses, big anime nerd.
Yeah.
I went to a social distance party for her nephews that turned 10, 8, and 2 on the 2nd, 5th, and 15th. Woo! A lot of clumped together. That's
cool.
A nice dinner with Ileana, and met her friends for drinks at a place called Vine and Green, a nice spot to chill and drink. Felt so much love I cried. Happy tears, of course. No shame for a man crying. Sending some pics to check out. chocolate-covered strawberries with a shot of tequila in the tube, chocolate-covered Rice Krispie treats, red velvet cake pops, and coated Oreo. Whew.
I thought they were just cookies, but now that I see them, they are some chocolate-covered strawberries and stuff like that. And let me give a little tip here to our boy Wells. These all have Niners logos on them. Just let you know, bud. I think you got a friend out there. You guys know that Wells is a big Niners fan too, but you're having a great time. Look at this big cheesy smile, and the Mexican food looks good too.
Food all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Our next email from Justin Kleiman, subject line Super Horn. He says, hopefully this works for you. Let me know if you can't access it. So if you scroll up, I put in Dropbox because it's too big to put in Discord. There's a link here to Super Horn. So I'm going to have you open it, and I'm going to have you play it, and I'm going to put it underneath. So Justin sent us like 90 seconds. So there is this little like gadget. It's this box with about 15 numbers on it, 15 buttons on it, but he's only pressing the same button every time, and there are slides. So I don't know what all these other buttons are for, but he's using like these like slide toggles to choose what sound is played. But it's crazy to me that like there are so many buttons on this thing that apparently don't factor into the actual horn.
Let me see. Let me watch this video.
Here it is.
Okay, so many buttons.
We have some beautiful weather hitting us today. I'll hit a couple of these off so you can hear it. I don't want to annoy my neighbors too much, but we'll start with this one.
What is this? What is this song?
Let's do another one. Oh yeah.
Da-da. Oh, that's the da-na-na-na-na-na. Okay. Oh my God.
You know I have got solar-powered Christmas lights to wrap around this thing.
Oh, he got solar-powered Christmas lights?
Christmas music.
Oh my God.
Oh, there we go. Nope, we got for New Year's.
Oh my God. Let all acquaintance be forgotten. Dun-dun-dun.
So many. I think there's like 20 plus choices on here.
Hey, but he's pressing. You're right. He's pressing one button, dude, over and over again.
He's sliding the toggles at the bottom because there's like 1 through 5 and A through E or something like this. There's a combination there that he's doing, but I don't understand why there are so many buttons.
That was your baseball theme song.
The charge. Yep.
It's awesome. They don't seem as aggressive as I thought they would be. They're just more fun.
Well, I mean, it's Super Horn. It's not like Death Horn.
No, but I mean, like, I thought it would be like air horn, quasi-ambulance type sounds, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
And you're like, what the fuck is that? No, this is just fun. Like, yeah, that's just goofy, fun time songs. I remember when I was a kid, we had this Christmas tree. No, not even a Christmas tree. We just had these lights, and like when you plugged them in, there was a button on the plug that goes into the wall, and it would play these songs. Because he has so many Christmas songs in this, it reminded me of that. And it would just play like MIDI versions of it on the thing. So that's fucking awesome, though. It's so wild that you have this with the Christmas lights, and you can just play Christmas music. And it was snowing in his video, too. Thank you. That gave me a good laugh. Do the other buttons do it? Like, you can just write in, but, like, there's 40 buttons on that remote, and you press 2. Like, I saw you had switches, too, but, like, what do the other 40 buttons do? There's so many options there, and it didn't seem like you needed to do much to change many options.
Our last email. He has so many questions and no answers. I have no answers for that.
I have no answers. Me neither.
Our last email today, also from Wells Lamont. Subject line, Fast, Fiverton Fieldville, Iowa.
Okay. Oh.
And you're the only one in Rio who can't be bought. Am I right? And then he says, yes. Of course I am. I love how they introduce Hobbs with a classic rock line to start this movie off. Mia jumping off roofs and through roofs while pregnant can't be good.
Yeah, she's going to have some difficulties there.
2 questions. How did Dom know Elena before all this happened? She has a gun to him while calling Hobbs on the walkie-talkie, and Dom tells her, I already know who you are. Second question. I'm still a little confused on the necklace thing. Can you please explain to me one more time? My bad, bros.
The necklace. Dom has it. It's not in 2.
I think he's asking specifically about 5. I don't think he's asking the entire thing. We know that. Do you remember what happens in 5?
Yeah, Dom has the necklace. He drops it at some point. Elena picks it up and then decides to wear it at him. She wears it. He sees it when they like meet with the Rock underneath that bridge, and he's like, "We're not in your hood anymore." Something like Dom breaks into Elena's house to steal it back from her.
He loses it while they're running away from Hobbs and all the other people, like the two different groups,
Yes.
and then Elena picks it up. When Dom says, I know who you are, he just senses that she has lost someone. And there's a little bit of, I guess, mystery in terms of, like, how, but, like, that's why they're able to get because that's the whole thing, like, why would you do this for a $20 piece of jewelry? And
Silver,
and he's like,
yeah.
you already know. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, he knows metaphorically
Yes.
who she is, that they have both lost someone, that Dom has lost Letty, and that she has lost her husband or whoever, right?
This isn't a Jesse, the kid can find anything on the internet. I know who you are, Brian Spilner.
No, it's not like he's not Googled her. He's not like,
Yes.
oh, Elena Neves. I mean, maybe, but there's no indication of that. I think he's metaphorically saying, I know who she is.
I get
know
you.
that she has suffered through loss, that we are two people of the same kind in this movie.
Yes, that makes way more sense. I agree.
They needed Sean for his drifting while they're getting to beat the cameras in their underground bad guy secret lair hideout. Or even DK. I wonder where DK went after he had to leave Tokyo.
I think if Sean would have been drifting through the warehouse, he would have just, like, hit the wall so hard the cameras would have fallen off, which could have worked, too.
Sean gets good at drifting.
Go through $7,000 in tires, you have to get good at it eventually, I guess. Yeah, you know what? DK should turn good. Wouldn't that be good if he just came back and joined? Well, I mean, we don't need to add more people to the family, but wouldn't it be like?
I mean, it would make sense if we're adding if Twinkie is back and if Earl is back and if Sean is back in this movie, it would make sense for
Yes.
DK to be back too.
And if we get Han back, why wouldn't DK still exist?
DK, there's no question he still exists. He's just not in Tokyo anymore.
Like, he still exists, like, in this world, because, like, you know, the alternate thing could be like DK is now like an insurance salesman or something, and he's like, I'm out of the life, man. He's like a boring dude that just, like, hangs out at home and drinks beers like me.
I'd love to see the outtakes for the "This is Brazil" line. What if it took Dom like 15 takes because he kept saying the word wrong, or the country wrong, or putting the emphasis on the wrong word? This is Brazil. This is Brazil. Or kept saying like a question. This is Brazil? This is Uruguay. This is Rio. This is Brazil. Haha, my bad, I'm stupid.
No. Oh, yeah. The Friends, when he can't say, soup, he keeps saying, noodle soup. Dom's just like, Rio de Janeiro. Like, fuck, Brazil. It was Brazil. Okay, let me try it again.
He says Fast Five is so good, it's still by far the best movie in the franchise, which matches up with his other email. Dom is such a badass. His back windshield gets shot out during the safe getaway. Instead of ducking, he turns around to see what's going on. I would have been driving blind while ducking the rest of the way.
I mean, well, they're kind of impervious to bullets. We've seen that. The only person that got shot was Jesse. I don't think anybody else has really ever gotten shot. I think maybe, no, Letty can shoot Dom. They're not impervious to each other's bullets. But I don't think we really see anybody get shot otherwise, right? Mr.
I mean,
Nobody?
none of them even really get hurt. Well, yeah, Mr. Nobody gets shot, but he has, like, bulletproof vests and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Vince gets hurt, but, like, they don't even get hurt. It's not even just shot. Like, they don't even get hurt, so.
Yeah, Vince dies. You're right, yeah.
But, I mean, not even Vince dies. Like, he suffers injuries in the first movie and in the fifth movie, so he gets shot, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, Dom, Letty, Brian even, Mia for sure. Dom definitely can't be shot, I don't think.
Out of all the movies, all the racing, all the car action, Dom and Brian driving with the safe is the craziest with the most skills needed and the most skills used.
I think the, like, jumping across the bridge, timing the jump across the bridge to catch Letty mid-air and tucking her is pretty insane.
I don't think that the catching Letty in midair is skill. I think that that's
Really?
just intuition and luck and timing.
It's a lot of geometry there, bro. I think he knows sophisticated levels of trigonometry in this movie franchise.
Joey going to San Francisco to take pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge is super funny to me because he lives 3,000 miles away, and it makes sense. I've been on or under that bridge 1,000 times, and I take pictures every single time.
I love the Golden Gate Bridge, and I love the secret, well, not so secret, but the good lookout from across the bridge when you go up the hill. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever taken
Nope.
a picture up there?
I told you I've been there once for 15 minutes.
That's right. If you go across the Golden Gate Bridge, like from San Francisco towards Sausalito, there's a turnoff like right after the bridge on the left, and you can drive up the hill, and you get that really good shot down that you see like the bridge on an angle. That's my favorite lookout point of the Golden Gate Bridge, and I like to go up there every time I'm around it, which isn't as often as Wells, but
Oh, you haven't been there hundreds of times?
thousands.
Thousands
No.
of times?
No, I haven't. I've been there like 3 or 4 times.
P.S. I am not Buckeye Boy, but I do enjoy Forrest Gump. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, bros, I'll see you on the other side. Peace out. Wells. Well, thank you, Wells. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Alex. And thank you,
Yeah.
Jerry, for all writing in. Happy birthday again, Jerry, one more time.
Yep.
If you want to email in family@cageclub.me, send us a note, send us rankings. Just say hi, family@cageclub.me. Joe, on the streets, news about the Fast and Furious. We've got a lot of news that is...
Adjacent.
We got Bloodshot 2 coming, which is very exciting.
Yeah, Jason messaged us. Bloodshot 2 coming with Vin Diesel, so that's a new Vin Diesel project. That's cool.
The Rock is rebooting The Scorpion King.
Which is wild to me, but awesome.
Well, I mean, they did The Mummy. The Mummy didn't work, the Cruise Mummy, so they're just keeping at it. Like that, it's a franchise that people love.
You're
so
right.
Really,
Yeah.
why not?
I kind of separate out the Mummy from the Scorpion King, so it makes, you're right, but I didn't connect those two things. That makes way more sense in my head.
Oh yeah, no, it's the same thing, right? It's the same franchise.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
I did not post this anywhere, but there was a rumor, and I don't know if this is, we've been waiting on the finished Wonder Woman 84, because that's been done, and we're waiting for them to put that out. But there was a rumor that came out a couple days ago that it might go to theaters. Whenever it goes to theaters, it might wind up on HBO Max just 2 weeks after it goes in theaters, which would be a quick turnaround, which I would love. Like we talked about a while ago when Universal made the deal with AMC, that it's going to be a 17-day turnaround or whatever, like after 2 full weekends,
Yeah.
then it can be a VOD or whatever. But on HBO Max, which is essentially, free or whatever, you pay for HBO, you have somebody, somebody with HBO, it's not like you're paying $30 to see Wonder Woman, you're essentially seeing it for free 2 weeks after it comes out, so.
Be wild, man. One Fast and the Furious news that we didn't talk about yet is that Justin Lin was finishing up the score. Fast 9 is like almost done in post-production. And I'm like, bro, this movie was supposed to be out in April. What the fuck are you doing in November? Like, isn't it done yet? I guess he's just tinkering, right?
Well, they were probably going to finish it up in March and April, and it just didn't, it was supposed to come out.
You're right. Yeah, that makes sense. Because, like, the pandemic kind of probably stopped them from even doing this, right? So, yeah.
Everything, because, gathering an orchestra together is not exactly viable, right? Like, there's a lot of protocols and stuff that has to come into play, so.
And I'm not musically inclined. This is probably a better question for, like, Nico. But I'm going to take a wild guess that it will be very difficult to record all the pieces separately.
My boss, who is a musician by trade, has been trying to figure that out because he feels very bad for musicians who have been out of work, because it's not even just like Cardi B is going to survive, but it's like the session musicians, it's the wedding bands. It's these people, bands are going to be fine. It's people who make a living doing
live
weddings and doing session things that are just like, you don't know them, but they make a living doing music, that they are not able to make a living in this time.
Orchestras that do scores and stuff. Yeah, that makes sense.
Broadway,
man.
all of that. And so he's been trying, or he was for a while trying to figure out if there was a way to get the technology, because there's just like, there's latency, there's lag, and there's a jitter, and like you can solve for one or two, but you can't get everything done, and it just feels not impossible, but like it's just not there yet. And like 5G theoretically could get us closer, but it's still not there yet. And
the emotional connection of being in one room, like it would feel very empty if you tried to record all the pieces separately. To have an orchestra, you kind of need to like bounce off each other type thing and like feel the mood room. I'm sure that there's a lot of interplay there that you would lose if you tried to do it all, socially distanced and separately and stuff. So
yeah, I'm sure that's a factor. I also think that like when you're a musician of that caliber, that you'll be able to do it solo or not. But I think it would probably be better and feel better and sound better when you're all in a room. The other thing to keep in mind is that like the singing and playing instruments are all like super spreader activities, and even more difficult to figure that all out. So good luck to everybody out there, because it is hard out there for a lot of people and musicians.
I have friends that are in local music venue, music promotion, event planning things, and they're all super shot. So I feel bad for all those guys and the musicians themselves. So
the other news, and this is a fun thing, it's not fast related, but it is a movie that we have talked about, or we have at least watched on a watch along. The Eleanor car from Gone in 60 Seconds, the Nicolas Cage one, is up for sale. So if you have a lot of money, first of all, toofast2forever.com, so it supports over there. But if you want to buy the Eleanor car, it is now available for sale at auction somewhere. I don't know when it began, or when it ends.
What the price is going to be for it.
A lot. A stupid amount.
You think $1 million, more or less?
I have no idea.
Nicolas Cage's car. It's in Gone in 60 Seconds. And it's a Shelby Cobra. Like, I don't think you can get much more expensive than this, right? It's like all three. It's like iconic. a movie car. It was owned by an actor. Like everything, it's just hitting on this.
I still think it's so funny that in the original Gone in 60, how underwhelming Eleanor was. It's like, oh yeah, like we're gonna do that one last because they're all over the place. And then in the new one, they're like, oh my god, it's Eleanor. She's like the white whale. It's like, well,
Yeah.
I get it, but also not even close to the original. So
No, that is really funny. I agree.
but I think that's all the news, both Fast and Furious and related. So
Lots
if
of
you have
related.
news, you want to send it in, family@cageclub.me, or just send it on Facebook, and Joe can share it, because I know that's how Jason gets in touch with us a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
just do that thing, family@cageclub.me, and that's it for now. A lot of news the last week that are in our ecosystem. But Joe, the final thing to do before we take a break and talk about Turbo, and there's not going to be audio here because it's just music. We're talking about the Fast and the Furious minute, but not 1 minute. We're talking about 6 minutes.
Ooh.
Minutes 101 to 106. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Time out. One more bit of news. Italian police use Lamborghini Huracan to transport kidney 300 miles in just 2 hours.
Damn. Yeah.
Averaging
you could do it.
145 miles per hour, the Italian state police delivered a donor kidney from Rome to Padua in around 2 hours. The Lamborghini Huracan they used, specifically modified for such tasks with a refrigerated trunk, frunk, I guess, the front trunk.
Yes. Yeah.
Was obtained by the Italian police in 2017. Speedy organ delivery isn't its only job, though. In fact, it's a regular patrol vehicle for the department with lights, a police computer, and other equipment necessary to perform traffic stops and arrests. Whew.
Can you imagine getting just smoked by a Huracan? Like you're just like cruising, you're like the cop will never. This is the opposite of Tokyo Drift, where like if you do over 100 or 220k, they'll never catch you, or like they won't even try.
It's like, good luck. I'm in a Huracan, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna just cook your ass. Exactly.
Yeah, Melissa sent that in to me like right before we were recording, so I didn't have it written down, but I had the tab open. I wanted to make sure we talked about it because very Fast and Furious related-ish sort of kind of news. So
Very fast and very furious. Yes.
she sent the link, and she was like, I was trying to come up with a Fast and Furious pun, but I couldn't, so she just said cars. Just sent the link and just said cars. But I just like, cars is better, so yeah. Cool.
Cars is better. I like it.
Anyway, Fast and Furious minutes 101 to 106. These are the credits. We have 1 minute to talk about, which we're going to do next episode on our Finding Nemo episode. We're going to talk about the final minute, which is like 56 seconds, and it's like 3 seconds of credits, and then at the Dom scene. But Joe, these 6 minutes, a lot of music, some interstitials, some behind the scenes or extra footage. I don't know exactly what we're looking at a lot of this. The big thing that I found, and I know that you found a bunch of stuff, is there is a kind of a cool medley of BT's score that I don't know if you realize, I'm sure you like recognize a lot of it, but like a lot of the music here after Ja Rule's Furious plays for about a minute or two, they kind of do like the greatest hits of the movie, the next 5 minutes, and it's like 6 or 7 different songs all together, which is pretty cool. It's like a nice blend of like all the things that you have known throughout. So it's like Dominic's story, which, and then Nitrous Part 1 and Nitrous Part 2, and like First Race, Enter the Eclipse. All these different tracks that we've heard throughout the movie are all cut together in a way that's like, hey, the movie is ending, here's our thing, whatever. So pretty cool.
That is, and it's a nice way to do it. I like it, and I mean they all kind of flow anyway, so it doesn't feel weird or anything. It's
because I was like I tried to get this song, and I was like, it's like before Siri or before Shazam could catch what the song was on to the next one. I was like, So I just Googled it, and like this guy put together this YouTube playlist, not even a playlist, like one video where it's like the 5 or 6 minute medley. I linked that in there, so yeah. But what did you find? Anything of note in here that you found?
You asked me like what cars they were showing, because they do these like neon drawings of the cars. And it's all the cars that they were driving. It's just whatever car that they had. So like when they show Vin, they show his RX-7. They show Paul Walker, they show Supra. Like it's just all the cars down the line of the. They're trying to remind you what character they were car-wise,
which is pretty cool.
I think those drawings are really sick. Like that would be like a really cool movie poster, right?
Yep.
Like a cool poster for like your dorm room or something. Like all the weird neon line drawings.
Well, so these are like the pre-credits. So like sometimes, so this is like a whole big point of negotiation in Hollywood that actors and agents go through. That like I need my name above the credits and then in the actual credits too. So like obviously in the next minute we're gonna see the full credits where it's like Vin Diesel plays Dominic Toretto or whatever. This is just like Vin Diesel in the movie. So sometimes like this happens at the beginning of the movie. Sometimes this happens at the end of the movie. There's a crazy negotiation with like the Actors Guild or something, or like I don't remember specifically what it is. This is like contractually obligated. Like people's names have to be in the credits twice. The interesting thing to me is like the order that it's in, and it's a little bit different, but like Vin Diesel and Paul Walker share the opening title card because like it's their movie combined, and then the next 7 people all get one. The surprising thing to me was that Ja Rule gets one, but I guess like it's just he's a hot rapper at the time, but like
Yes.
in retrospect that feels not warranted.
Definitely not. But I think if Cardi's gonna be in the new one, they're gonna have Cardi in the front, right? Like
Yeah, but like she'll be like 15th or 16th. It's like Ja Rule is literally the 8th name we see. It's like,
but I mean there wasn't 15 or 16 other people in this one. It's the first one.
I know, but still, boy. But okay, yeah. But your point is well taken. It just feels like, oh yeah, okay, Edwin knows. Okay.
Edwin knows.
102. Credits number 2.
Now they start cutting in some like scenes that aren't really anything. They're kind of like extra scenes and stuff like that. I was trying to jot down numbers and things that I saw there. Like one interesting thing that I saw was it was brought to you by Media Stream Film. And I looked up what Media Stream Film is. The only thing I could find about it is that it produced Fast and the Furious. And then I saw some reference to Media Stream 4. Like, do they just have evolutions of this company? I don't know. I'm guessing this is like Rob Cohen, just like some like LLC that he made for this movie or something. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Because like a lot of times for a producer, like if there's a first-time director or somebody, like he's fine. So this is it's not this case, but like a lot of times if a guy is making a movie and like it's self-funded, like they need to like incorporate to like distribute or whatever.
Yeah.
So you'll have like say for instance like just to pick like The Lighthouse. Like The Lighthouse is not Robert. The Witch is his first movie. Like I don't think this is what it is, but like it'd be like The Witch Productions LLC, where it's like they just named it after the first thing. So like you would think that like Furious Productions or like Fast FF like what like something reminiscent kind of like.
Yes.
No, Media Stream, no. So I don't know.
Which also has now gotten co-opted, and Media Stream is like an illegal streaming site and also an app from Microsoft. So Media Stream was not a good name for this.
Weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Because they're prominently, it's like Universal Pictures presents like a blah 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 Media Stream.
Yes,
like it's like a big thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's why I was very confused by that.
Oh, also prominently in this minute, Gengar and Pikachu, which, if you didn't catch it in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, and I got another weird license plate there, too.
The video in here, if you don't remember, a lot of the video is just, like, a second or 2 or 3 seconds of just seemingly, like, extras. Like, there's people, like, there's, Paul Walker driving and stuff.
It's
but, like,
B-reel, right?
Yeah, it's just B-roll. Like, a lot of it seems to be from Race Wars, because I'm sure they just had, like, we were talking about...
Craig Lieberman said it. They shot, like, all day there, so...
Yes, so they probably just have, like, an endless amount of footage, so... All right, minute 103, credits number 3.
Couple more of those scenes. You get a really nice shot of the back of a 300ZX, which I was actually just talking about today. That's, like, one of my favorite cars of this era. If I wanted to pick like one of these cars to buy that would fit in this like tuner world but isn't a Supra because now they're like $100,000, I think I would go with 300ZX. That would be like my pick of tuner car to have right now.
And would you always have some random extra just shaking her ass? Like, it's one of those, like, I feel like this is a meme you would see where it's like, I don't even see, like, if you look, you can see a car or whatever. Like, it's just like she's blatantly just like one of those dumb things, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's Chrissy Teigen in the front of in the bumper of
like
this
this
car
shot is
here.
not there to show off the 300ZX's bumper.
No.
It's like, look at this girl, shaking her ass in the reflection or whatever, right? So
Exactly. Yes. She's dancing in the background.
Minute 104, credits number 4. What you got?
One of the scenes in this one has a guy with huge rims on his car pull up. Looks like it's before the street race. He's like parking on the side there, and he has this thing on the front of his hood. We see a lot of these like decals and things, and I always like write them down, and a lot of them are for websites that don't exist anymore. And this one says Audio Bond Garage, okay? And I was like, let me see if Audio Bond Garage still exists. Audio Bond Garage doesn't exist, but in Indio, California, there is a place called the Auto Bond Garage that does like tune-ups and mods and things like that. And I'm wondering if Audio Bond was a spin-off of this or the first name for this, because it fits, right? It's right in the same area and everything.
I'm pretty sure we've seen this guy's car. I think that when Brian gets to, I keep wanting to say it's Race Wars, but it's not. It's the first time it's quarter mile against Dom. It feels, I think we've seen this guy because it's one of the like hero cars that are just, look at this cool whatever.
Yes.
There's a couple cars in the credits that we've seen before.
I think so too, but that was the first time I noticed like the Audio Bond Garage on the front of it. We didn't want to go over like weird names and things like that, but I saw a name that I thought was interesting. Sherry Bradshaw.
Yep.
And I thought that was funny because, we have, as a Steelers fan, I have Terry Bradshaw. As a Sex and the City fan, we have Carrie Bradshaw. So I was like, who is Sherry Bradshaw? And she's apparently...
the assistant production accountant.
But she's done other movies. And one of the movies on her IMDb is Short Circuit 2, which I know that we've talked about with Wes before. And I thought that was very interesting that she's done Short Circuit 2 in Fast and the Furious. I mean, she's actually has like a huge list of movies.
She's done like 40. She's been an accountant on like a bunch of different things. Whatever, production controller, which I'm sure is also budget stuff. But a lot of these things are things that I don't know. I know Half Magic. I've seen Half Magic. She did Gladiator, K-19, The Widowmaker.
Gladiator, yeah.
It seems like around the turn of the century she was really at her height of her powers. But she is most known for the Fast and the Furious. So.
Oh, and Man on Fire, which is the whole Crystalia joke. I mean, goodbye Crystalia, but it's the whole Crystalia joke of like the "you are not the man on fire," So that thing too. So I was just like, wow, she really surprised me. And how cool would it be to be like the accountant for movies? That's a pretty cool job, right? You're just like, hey,
sure.
No, don't spend that money. Or stop. In this minute, we see Craig Lieberman's name finally. And the other really, really, really interesting thing that I had to like look up just to triple check. Actually, I think the only firearms consultant for this film is Paul Walker III.
Interesting.
Can you take a guess who that is?
His dad?
Yes, because he is Paul Walker IV.
I feel like we knew that from the documentary. Like, I wouldn't have remembered that, but I feel like they mentioned that, I think.
How many Paul Walker thirds and fourths are working on the same film? I didn't, like, look to make sure it's his dad, but that's pretty cool that you call your dad in as the gun expert. And, we had been looking through all the firearms as well with the Internet Firearm Movie Database. That's cool that Paul Walker's dad was involved a little bit.
Minute 105, credits number 5.
I don't know. This is a pretty bland one, I think.
There was the Scorcher TA car, which is like that yellow car. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's nothing really. This just seems like a lot of race wars, and then maybe there's a red car, like an aerial shot, a cool shot of a red car with red underglow pulling up somewhere. That feels like
Dom.
Is it Dom?
Yeah, it's his RX-7.
That's from the first race then.
I think we see a very similar shot of Dom pulling up in that race. But I don't remember if it's from the side or from overhead like that. It's just not as dark. It's like not as night in that one.
And then the final one, minute 106, credits number 6. This is basically the credits that we're seeing are all of the music, like all the tracks. And I feel like I missed so many of these. So whoops,
oh, yeah.
I did my best, but there's so much music in here that like, either maybe got cut out or maybe they licensed for something or other, but
sometimes those like things that they show you the songs in the movie at the end of them, especially from this era, they're like weren't those songs in the movie. I always felt like
Jordan, past guest of the show and beloved friend, loves the song "The Perfect Drug" by the 9 Inch Nails because it was in the it was on the soundtrack for the movie Lost Highway, which is a David Lynch movie. When we found out about that, because that song was in Rock Band, it was wildly hard because it's like this insane drum machine. But we're like, where in that movie is that song? She's like, I don't know, but it's on the soundtrack. And we watched it, and it's like there's like 2 seconds of the song's sound in one chase scene. Like it's just like this one kind of iconic-ish like noise that like Trent Reznor makes out of some instrument or something or other, right? And like it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, it's technically in the movie, but also not really. Like it's a weird thing. What I'm trying to say is that, songs are not always in the movie in their full way. Like, Limp Bizkit's Rollin'.
I think it was in the beginning. I think it's in the beginning of the movie, like, when he comes out, like, before they fight. No, it's a different song.
Well, that's Watch Your Back.
I feel like it's around there, though. I think Rollin' is in the movie for a second. I did remember that, and when I saw it, I was like, I feel like I did see that. I don't remember when, but I feel like it's in there somewhere.
There's just a lot of these where I'm just like, oh, okay, like, there's a lot of songs that I either missed or just didn't make a note of, or maybe I did and I forgot that I made a note of it, but there's a lot of music in this movie. But anyway, you made a note of a thing that I saw, which is pretty cool, a pretty cool credit from a magazine article by Ken Lee, which is the Redline article, right?
The Racer X.
Racer X.
Yes. Okay. I looked it up, and it is on the Vibe archives.
Cool.
And they have the original article, so I think at some point we should maybe read this, talk about it a little bit. I mean, I guess this is like a republish. This says that this article was made in 2015 by Ken Lee, but I feel like it's just a reprint of...
No, this says at the bottom, if you look in Google Docs, if you say read the May 98 Vibe article titled Racer X that inspired the Fast and Furious film and franchise.
I'm just saying, like, on the Vibe website right now, like, if you look at it, it's published March 26th, but I think it's just they, like, digitally put it on.
Any overall thoughts on these 6 minutes? Was watching the credits as fulfilling as you had thought it might be?
There was actually more interesting things there than I thought. I was nervous that it was going to be like a name-by-name type situation, right? But like, no, there were some cool things I found. Little scenes. I forgot that the scenes are in there. I totally don't remember those at all.
Well, because I don't think we were paying attention. I mean, like, we're probably already not paying attention to certain things while we're watching the movie, like, let alone the credits. Like,
yeah, I don't think I ever watch credits in a movie, so...
Well, we're going to have a trivia question next time. We will not have a trivia question this time, but let us take a break, Joe, and let us talk about Turbo and how weirdly, or not even weirdly, like how appropriate it is
so
for
appropriate.
this lap.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 144, Turbo. This episode is brought to you by Intel Turbo Memory that was made available on May 9th, 2007 on the Intel Santa Rosa platform and their Crestline GM965 chipsets. Shout out to Intel.
Well, shout out Intel and welcome back. We are kicking off officially Animation Week here with Turbo, so shout out to Alex Elliman for not only supporting us on Patreon, but for picking this movie to talk about. We have one more very exciting animation movie we'll be talking about on Friday with Finding Nemo, but once Reef Week went away, I figured what better way to celebrate, I don't know, whatever, than with another themed week, and here we are with Turbo, which is a movie that I had never seen before that I think I had heard about.
I've definitely heard about it, because it's kind of like along the lines of like Cars, and like it was a Pixar movie, right?
DreamWorks, yes, not Pixar, it's a DreamWorks movie. There is a weird kind of thing on the internet that like feels like there's like a kind of a cult-ish, like, you know, like there are all those memes like for B-movie, every time they say the word B, like it speeds up or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
It feels a little like that, but not quite, and I don't really know, like, it feels sort of cult statusy, but not really, like, I don't know, it's a weird, and you'll see why I'm saying that when we get to the letterbox game, but it's a weird thing that feels like it's almost a thing that like people like ironically like, but also it's not popular enough. Like, it's a weird middle ground for this, and I'm being vague because I don't know how to describe this like minor cult status, but not actually.
I think that what you're hinting at is that it probably has a childhood nostalgia for a group of kids that have found the internet at some point.
Maybe? I mean, this only came out 7 years ago.
Yeah, but the difference between like 10 and 17 is huge, right?
It's true.
Or like even like 8 and 15. Yeah, like the 7-year jump is like when it can come up and people were like, hey, I remember that movie as a kid.
That's what they call the 7-year itch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this is Turbo, so I'd never seen it before. I don't think you'd seen it before.
No.
What did you think of Turbo, which is essentially, very simple to describe, a snail admires IndyCar drivers.
Yes.
And he wants to race the Indianapolis 500, but he's a snail, he's very slow. Something happens, which we will talk about.
Yes.
And he's able to race the Indianapolis 500, and then he wins, and that's the movie. So it's like, believe in your dreams, things can happen. We got Michelle Rodriguez in here, we'll talk about her. We got Ryan Reynolds as the titular Turbo, we'll talk about him.
Yes.
2 fastnections there. But what did you think of Turbo overall? Because there's also, I was saying to you, as Netflix keeps piling out the animation, the anime, the kids content, there is a whole Turbo Fast, Turbo Fast,
I think.
Turbo Fast series on Netflix.
Every time I watch one of these like DreamWorks or Pixar movies, because I don't have kids, right? So like I don't catch them as they come out. Usually I watch like the animated ones. Some of like the best animated ones for like the Oscars, right? I am so pleasantly surprised at how awesome these kids movies are. You know, we talked about Onward and how much I like that when I watched it. And like this one is just great. Like it was really wholesome. We thought it was so cute. It was surprisingly applicable to us. Really weirdly applicable to the show.
Well, I think that's why Alex picked it, because not only is Michelle
sure.
Rodriguez in it, but it's about racing, covers the 2 birds with 1 stone. I think this is kind of like the definition of just like a straight down the middle kids movie. Like, it's not bad, but I'm never going to watch this again. Like, I think it's fine.
That's what I mean. I'm not like, oh, this is a classic film and like it needs to be watched over and over again. But at the same time, I'm like, they're always so pleasantly surprising that I enjoy them more than I think.
In the era sort of like Pixar movies, and I think a lot of these movies kind of entered a formula. and it's like, well, what kind of anthropomorphic thing can become our star, and like what's the thing that most defines their shortcoming, and then how do they overcome it in the end, right?
Yes.
Like, and so a snail is slow, but a snail wants to be fast, and just there's never really, I don't think, a doubt or a surprise at like what happens.
No,
but,
definitely not.
It's blessedly short. It's only 96 minutes, which is very nice, and it's pleasant. Like there's nothing about this movie that I didn't like.
It's wholesome, and they also give you like some facet of a moral lesson, and a lot of them are like tied to family and like the love of family. So that's hits big for us, and yeah.
I mean, this one is strewn with, whatever, some racism, where all the Mexican people run a taco truck and live in the ghetto, and there's some stuff in here that's not great. Overall, so there's a guy on the How This Get Made podcast who is a corrections and omissions superstar. So like I was saying, that like in between those episodes, they do like the mini episode where they basically announce what the next movie is, but they also have people write in like, what did we miss? What do you want to talk about? Whatever. And so there's this guy on there for a while called Cameron H, and he would always write in with like just like these really like interesting ideas. Like he would just, essentially like the emails for our show, he would write into that show and be like, here's what you missed, blah, 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 whatever. I followed Cameron H on Letterboxd. He follows me back, so we're kind of like Letterboxd friends, and he has written a lot about about how he has a lot of kids, or he has at least one kid or whatever. As such, he has to watch a lot of kids' movies, and it seems like this, like I think he gave this like 2.5 stars, and he's just like, this is a movie that as soon as it ended, his son wanted to put it right back on.
Oh.
Which I think is kind of the highest compliment. He's like, as soon as it ends, he hits play again. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I want to watch Turbo again. So like, as a parent who has to watch a lot of these kind of movies, I think you could do a lot worse than Turbo in the long run.
And as a kid, like, that's pretty much like the kid test of like 5-star review, right? Like
Yep.
You're like, you turn it off, hit rewind, like you put it in the fast rewinder, slap that baby down, and put it right back in.
Basically, as soon as credits hit on a Netflix thing, it's like, you might also be interested in this. It's like, give me a chance to breathe. But I do wonder if they'll ever be like, hey, want to watch it again? Just press this button, because it feels like that's coming next. You know what I mean?
Or like repeat, like loop, like for like CDs and stuff, or music, like on your iPod.
Yeah. So yes, let's talk about some fast actions. There's some obvious ones. There's some actually, before we do there, I want to give one sort of behind-the-scenes fast action. So this movie sort of originated from like a pitch idea that DreamWorks did. So this was by first-time director David Soren, who has gone on to direct two, I don't want to call them lesser Madagascar movies, but there's like a million Madagascar movies, I think, whatever. Yeah. DreamWorks organized a competition for all employees to pitch a one-page story idea. The night before, this guy David Soren, the director, had the idea for Fast and Furious with snails, put together a pitch for that, and won the competition. So this movie came out of like this weird internal pitch competition at DreamWorks, where it's like, hey, what movie would you like to see made or whatever?
Yes.
And he came up with the idea of Fast and Furious with snails. And there we go. Because the biggest fast action, like the most direct thing that maybe in a movie ever, Turbo becomes Turbo in a race essentially between Brian and Dom.
Kind of like inverted characters, but it's very Brian and Dom.
Ooh, how do you mean inverted characters?
Because I think like the bald, grumpy looking guy is driving like an import, and the young kid is driving, like the hipstery looking kid is driving a muscle car. Like it's very much Brian and Dom, but they like switch the drivers too.
Because it's literally a Charger, right? With the exhaust on the engine.
It's
not a Charger?
It's a Chevy something with a blower. So, but it looks...
It looks like the Charger.
It looks like the Charger. It's black.
And the other one is Eclipse with the green running lights, right?
It's some kind of foreign car. I didn't know what they're trying to do, but it looks like a GTR. It looks like an Eclipse. They kind of Frankensteined like all the Fast and Furious cars between them together, So it's very similar. This is definitely the tone and the idea that they were going for. Yes.
As this is happening, I was like, please tell me that he absorbs Nas and becomes fast. And then as I'm writing that down, that's exactly what happens. It's like, oh my god, like I was right. Like it's just it's the best way for him to become Turbo. It's like, yeah.
He falls off the bridge because he's like watching cars because he wants to be fast, and he falls off the bridge and lands on top of the Charger-esque car and gets sucked into the blower and goes through the engine. He would have been escargot real quick, but he's impervious to heat apparently, and he's in the engine. It's a very Fast and Furious shot too, right? Like the going through the engine, which I thought was really cool. Yes, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I see the kid do the shot of Nos, and the Nos goes through the engine, and it like fuses with his blood cells, and they all become spinning wheels, and he gets turbo powers.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. It was so mind-blowing to me. I was like, this is perfect. Oh, also, the race that they're having is at the aqueducts, which we talk about all the fucking time. That, like, why is the Fast and Furious never at the aqueducts and how we imagine it? And this is, like, them making Fast and the Furious happen at the aqueducts, which we're always like, we have the, the Mandela effect of, I do at least, always have them being there because it just feels like they were there.
You had messaged me before, like, this is so, like, weirdly perfect. I just thought it was about racing and about, like, kind of family and whatever, and, like, I didn't know. And then I saw this, and I was like, it's amazing. It's so perfect.
Yeah, like, on the nose for exactly what we want.
With that in mind, like, my regret, my wish, my woe is that Michelle Rodriguez is in this movie for so little that, like, I forgot it was her. And, like, at the end, I was like, oh, I haven't even noticed or paid attention to, like, who she plays.
Oh, really?
The cast of characters that they have as his fellow racing snails is not, like, insane, but, like, really big, right? Like,
Pretty
it's Snoop
big,
Dogg,
yeah.
it's Ben Schwartz, it's Samuel L. Jackson, it's Maya Rudolph. Like, it's all these people that are like, oh my god, like, they got a lot of those people. And I'm like, how are you going to have Michelle Rodriguez in your racing movie and not have her be a racer? I mean, she owns, at the end, she owns an auto body shop.
Well, she always did. They're in a plaza. Okay, so he gets the turbo powers. He goes back home. He starts to realize he has these powers, and his brother gets, like, taken by a hawk or a crow. He turbos through the streets and saves his brother and winds up outside of this taco truck. The kid that runs the taco truck kidnaps him. Well, he puts him in a cup, and it turns out his whole dream of racing in NASCAR, this kid runs snail races. And it's everybody in this plaza where his brother's taco stand is. A taco stand, a nail salon,
an auto body shop,
and a hobby shop, yeah. And Michelle Rodriguez is the mechanic at the auto body shop. And so she has her own garage in this Starlight Plaza. And I was like, oh, that's really cool that they made her the mechanic, right? That plays well.
I think that's fitting, but I was kind of hoping, and I mean, I saw that she was like 13th build. Like, I knew she wasn't going to be like a main part of this movie, but I also just like I don't know why you have like Maya Rudolph there. Like, I feel like, it could have, like, that could have been Michelle Rodriguez. Not that any of those really have a ton more to do than she does, but like, I was hoping that she was going to be a racer as opposed to just like a body shop, but like, or just that she would be in it at all a little bit more. But I'm just glad that we got her.
I think that if you would have made her like Letty as a snail, that would have been kind of less interesting to me than her being a real character that's a female that owns a garage.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
I mean, granted, it cuts down on our screen time because the movie's about snails, but the gravity of it feels better to me.
Well, it's like there's that movie G-Force where Nicolas Cage plays a mole, and it's a hybrid between animated CGI moles and CGI gerbils and stuff like that, and real people. Like, there's actual, like, it's, set in the real world, but
so it's like
whatever.
Smurfs or something?
It's about the animated creatures more, but also, like, not that we're watching it for Michelle Rodriguez, but we're kind of watching it for Michelle Rodriguez or whatever, right?
Yeah,
so, I don't know.
Exactly.
The other big cast connection, I guess, is that Ryan Reynolds, what's his name?
Oh,
Locke?
shit.
You didn't think about that?
No, I totally forgot that he's like a big part of Hobbs and Shaw. You're absolutely right. Holy
yeah, that's why I was bringing it up. Like, I explicitly said it a couple times because, like,
yeah,
it's a fast connection. It's not, I guess, doesn't always spring to mind that it's a fast connection, but yeah, absolutely fast connection.
I was watching this for Michelle Rodriguez because we're doing that lap, the snails and the NOS and the Fast and Furious stuff. I totally forgot that Ryan Reynolds is part of these movies now. It's so funny.
What other fast connections did you find? Is there anything in particular or broader that you found that you thought that reminded you of these movies, of the Fast and Furious movies?
At the end of this, Michelle Rodriguez is in the body shop, and I think she's welding. And don't we see her welding in another movie? I don't know if it was the welding, or I'm imagining her use the belt sander in Blue Crush.
I think she welds in Widows. She uses the belt sander in Blue Crush.
But it was just another Michelle Rodriguez doing a manual
stereotypically
task.
Male thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's also cool to see her doing like machining work, like this kind of work, like a skilled labor. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. She's welding again. And the main fast connection is that this is a family movie, right? It's about like it's about a found family and your brother. You can include people that aren't your family into your family. The family of snails at the beginning that all work together aren't really a family, and that you just need to find your own group. There's always going to be a group of people that will accept you for who you are, and that is the main thing that's like, this is why it felt like a Fast and the Furious movie to me.
In that point, I was like, is this the first rated G movie that we've done? And no, there's one other one. And I know this is not at all how your brain works, or you're not going to get this right, but so I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but do you remember the other rated G movie? And I will give you a hint that it does not feel like a rated G movie.
I'm going to take a guess. I don't watch ratings, at all, right? Because it's just like it's just not on my brain. I would have to guess Milton's Secret was our other rated G movie.
No, I think that was. I don't think. I think that was unrated.
But not unrated like XXX unrated. It was like
No, this was a movie that is. It's also probably, I will say, our oldest movie that we've covered. Covered it last lap.
I don't remember.
It's a Mad, 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 Mad World was rated G.
Oh, okay.
Which doesn't feel like it should be. I mean, it shouldn't be rated like R, but like it just feels like a. But
PG?
back then, you know, yeah. There's just. I think there's just G and like it was either for everybody or restricted, right? So like.
Oh yes.
But yeah, that I was like, this is their first, because this is our first like real, I think, kids movie. I don't know what Spy Racers is rated, probably Y7 or something, right? Like.
Yeah.
Big kids. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I would love if Samuel L. Jackson would have got a fuck in this one, right? Wouldn't that have been great? He just drops like one fuck in it. I remember. I think you can get away with like one bitch or one ass in a PG movie.
Not in G. Like G is like there's nothing at all.
Bad.
Something similar, but a different topic, but something that we generally cover. So this movie cost $127 million. It made 282, like that's what it made at the box office.
Damn.
Yet somehow, and I still don't understand how this works, this is like the craziness of all of it, are still lost $15 million. And so we talk about, you know, profitability, like especially with like Alita and like whether or not that makes money and like how much money do you have to make to like greenlight a sequel or whatever.
Yeah.
But for this movie that essentially more than doubled its budget, according to something somewhere, lost $15 million, which just seems crazy.
I don't know any of the financials of this stuff, but that just seems mind-boggling to me.
Like, I guess that's marketing, and I guess that's whatever, but, like, still, like, it's just insane. Number one, that, like, it cost this much money, but I guess, you know, Samuel L. Jackson, even though he's not, like, the star, probably makes a lot of money. Like, it's just all those kind of things, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I don't know.
I had a weird connection to another movie we did very recently. We talked about it. The two brothers, they run a taco truck. What is it? Dos
Bros Tacos.
Oh, Dos Bros, yeah. He's making tacos at one point. He puts black olives on them. That's very weird. I've never seen tacos in my life that have, like, pizza.
Oh, really? At Moe's, black olives is a staple. Like they, you know, it's
really?
It's always there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not big on black olives, but yeah, that's always an option.
The fuck? Are you serious? That's not like a real thing, though.
I don't know. I guess it is. I mean, if this is, you know, some kind of authentic or whatever, I don't think it's not.
Oh man, that was so weird to me. It made me think of the machete scene when Lindsay Lohan is eating the very white people flour taco. I was like, this is like a really weird version of tacos if they're putting black. Yeah, maybe it's like a California tacos thing?
I don't know, because that's the thing to keep in mind. There's like Tex-Mex, and there's California tacos,
Yes.
and there's like authentic Mexican. Like, I don't know where it's from, but yeah, like to me, I'm not into olives generally. I like, you know,
But you can get it at
Mediterranean,
Moe's.
yeah, it's just one of those things. Yep.
Damn. Okay. We have, like I said, we have a large Mexican population here. They have a lot of taco trucks and like taquerias. It's always lettuce, pico, beans. That's what you get. And it just really freaked me out when I saw it enough to take notes about it. And I was, wow, okay, cool.
Moe's might be the only place that does it, right? Like, I might be
Yeah.
normalizing a thing that's not normal, but like they pickle jalapenos, they fresh jalapenos, and that like in the same little area. They have black olives, so I don't know.
Weird. Okay, cool.
Actually, I have a question for you, not about olives, about Turbo. So, like, when he gets nosed
Yes.
and essentially becomes a car,
Yes.
he gets like a car alarm. Like, what do you think actually happens to him? Like, does he become a car? Because he has like a car alarm in his shell.
He has a radio now. He has lights. He has
His eyes turn into headlights. Yep.
He has backup lights and backup beeping. Like, he has an alarm. Yeah. I am completely unsure. This is all fantastical to me, so...
I had those kind of questions. I had like logistical questions like that. It's the same kind of thing when they're actually in the Indy 500 and everybody's pit stopping. I was like, does he need to pit? Like, does he
This is
need
what
to
I was
pull
thinking
over?
too. Yeah.
And then like they almost immediately were like, one of them, I don't remember if it's Paz or it might have been, the other weird thing is that like Ken Jeong plays like an old Korean lady. I'm like, why are you getting Ken Jeong to play like I don't know, just like a weird...
Yeah.
Turbo pits, and they give him water, and they give him like a little, like they have like a cell phone, they give him like a foot massage.
Yep.
They give him like relaxing music, then they give him like aggressive music, like get second back up or whatever. But one of them says, I think Ken Jeong says, it's a snail, there's not that much to do. It's like, yeah, like why would you, like, unless he's tired, but like it seems like he doesn't get tired.
I thought that was going to be the main plot point, is that he doesn't have to pit, so he gets ahead because of that, right? No, that's not it at all.
He's a snail, but he's not like superhuman. Like, he could just, like, if a car runs over him, he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that too. That's the whole, like, the scariness of the, like, if he hits a tire, he's done.
Could he? So there's the main antagonist in this movie is this guy Guy Gagné, this French guy played by noted French actor Bill Hader. I was wondering if Turbo could affix himself to the hood of Guy's car and like rest because he's still traveling.
Oh, like a pit stop, but on his car.
Yeah, just like stay on the lead car and then like jump off and like just zoom to the end.
Oh. What if, like, one car wrecked into the other one and the other one, like, towed it to the finish line?
Well, like that's it. Like at the end of this movie, like Guy Gagné like is like literally pulling his car. I'm like, does that work? Like, is that a thing that can happen?
I feel like the rules are, like, you have to cross with your vehicle, right?
So that's why he's going. It's not an issue with this movie because like issue is way too strong of a word.
It's a kids movie, yeah.
It feels like when he becomes Nas, when he becomes supercharged, he is essentially a car, and like they just treat him like a car. There's so many like other kind of creative things that they could be doing that they just don't do, and I'm like,
Like
oh,
what?
like I guess by the end he's eventually like riding along under cars, and like he could be on cars, so he could like not have to pit or whatever. It just feels like he's just a car, like he has to abide by all the rules of the car, but like that's not the case.
And there's, like, restrictions for car things, right? Like, he doesn't actually have headlights and stuff, so, like, I don't know.
He did remind me though. Did you get any recollections, or did he when he was zooming around as Turbo, as Blue Turbo or whatever? Did he remind you of anything? Because he's essentially got like blue running lights in this movie. But did his look remind you of anything? Not from a thing that we've talked about, but just something that you have seen a lot in your life, I would say. But it's not around anymore. I'm being weird and vague, but
No, it reminded me of, like, Cars, because I was thinking about the other movie that's about a car that does this, and running lights in general, but no.
he reminded me of a hockey puck on a '90s NHL broadcast.
Oh, yeah, the glowing puck on Fox.
Because it's the same, like it's running lights, but like with the tiny little
streaking
thing where he like they're showing that for the speed, but it's also I think so you can follow a snail in a race full of cars. You can see where he is, but it just seems like in a race with like a whole bunch of big dudes. I was just like, oh, he looks like a puck.
That's very, very true. I didn't put that together, but no, that's awesome. Yeah, he does. I miss the glowing puck days, and when the guy that was like doing it would fuck up and like put the puck and not know where it is, and that would be fun too.
At some soccer match, there was an AI cameraman who has been trained to follow the soccer ball. It's what's called brittle AI. Like it would break in ways that humans wouldn't. And instead of following the soccer ball around, it would transfix itself on this bald lineman's head. And so, the action would be going on like on the left side of the field, and then the camera would just go to the bottom of the field because like there was just a guy that was bald. And it's just like, oh, that's that's not what's supposed to happen, but it's also very funny.
Yeah, that is really funny. I like that a lot.
The Dos Bros tacos, I mean, we talked about tacos in Machete and stuff, but also, there's Toretto's Marketing Cafe, so the fact that it's not only a family thing, but a family that operates a restaurant together is very Fast and Furious.
Food Shack. Family that operates Food Shack, yeah.
Oh, one other thing that I was sort of disappointed in with the Michelle Rodriguez side of things was that the guy who owns the hobby shop is Richard Jenkins, who's been in a million things. Like, he's just, he's like character actor. He's in a bunch of things. Like, he's in
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers, yep. Cabin in the Woods, all sorts of stuff, right? His character looks almost identical to him. Like, he just looks like Richard Jenkins. Michelle Rodriguez just kind of looks like
a buff dude,
or kind of just like a stereotypical like chola. Like, it's just one of those like, oh, like you didn't like. It just felt like they severely disappointed in
her styling,
how they treated her. Like, just for watching for her essentially, right? Yeah,
because we're coming off seeing her in Alita, where they modeled it after her, right? So it like you see it in Alita, you're like, oh, that's Michelle Rodriguez, and this is like, no. It's not.
And I think that was the other reason that I wasn't thinking of it as her, because, like, it's not like she ever has, like, prolonged conversations. Like, it's, she speaks when the rest of the group speaks. Like, everybody has, like, one line in a conversation, right? Like, it's not like she's, maybe until the very end or whatever, everybody says, like, one thing, and she says her one thing. So I'm just like, oh, like, it didn't click in my mind, because also it doesn't look like her. Right?
And it's also weird that they did that. Meanwhile, like, even the snails, like, Paul Giamatti, and the Luis Guzman brother looks like Luis Guzman, so it's like, why did you choose to just not make Michelle Rodriguez look like Michelle Rodriguez?
There's a chance that it was supposed to be some other actor, and then they dropped out and Michelle Rodriguez filled in, but like, I can't think of an actor who looks like that, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange.
And also disappointing was that at the end, they have one of those, like, where you line up the voice to the character, and it's like, oh, there's Turbo on screen. Oh, it's Ryan Reynolds. Oh, cool. I didn't play it. Whatever. You know what I mean? And then Michelle Rodriguez is just like on a screen with two other names, and we didn't even see her character. Just like, oh, like just every little way that like I could be slightly, like not in a grand way that means anything, but like slightly disappointed by all these different like choices or lack thereof. I was like, oh, okay. Like I was like, I wonder if we'll see her like in her shop or with the crew or maybe holding a snail. Just like the bottom line of like the marquee outside the mini marts. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was also weird to me. I think my only other note was that it was weird to me that Turbo doesn't realize that he could just like walk across the finish line. Like he's so defeated by the fact.
Yes. It needed to build tension.
I guess, but like as soon as it happened, I'm like, oh, dude, just walk.
Yeah, like you got it. You're the last one left and you're in the front, so just go. The family comes to your rescue and everybody cheers you on and it's a glorious moment thing. But we could have skipped all of that and just made the last part of the race, but at a 90-minute movie, it felt like they might have had to stretch some parts out a little bit.
I think the pacing overall was good. I just think there was like little things like that where it's like it felt like artificial tension in a way, right?
Yes,
so,
I agree. It's a kid's movie, but yeah.
Oh, there's also he drives along the wall. Like he's doing things that like other cars can't. Like he actually gets on the wall like a snail and does that. Like I thought that was kind of cool, but it just felt like why aren't you doing more of that almost, right?
And I was like, is that a legal move? Like
I don't know. Seems like nobody gives a shit about legality. You're like, oh, cool, a snail's here.
Yeah. I mean, once you let the snail into the race, because there's nothing that says you can't.
There's nothing in the rule that says a dog can't play basketball.
Exactly. Oh, we had a very ludicrous Tej moment. Turbo, when he first realizes his powers, he plays Drop It Like It's Hot, and then Snoop Dogg is in the movie immediately afterwards.
True. And
the other thing was, they do this kind of in all of these animated movies, but they had a very, like, do you look like a car? Then stop driving like one. And it was very, like, does he look like a bitch from Pulp Fiction? They get Samuel L. Jackson to say that. And I was like, oh, that's a cool little nod to an adult watching it and realizing it's Samuel L. Jackson, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah, those are my last two things that I had about the movie.
So like I said, there is the Turbo Fast animated series. If you want more Turbo, if you can't get enough Turbo, you can keep watching.
It was cute
on Netflix.
I actually really contemplated. I was like, sure. I was like, no. I got enough racing snails for now, and like, I'm not ready to get into the cartoon TV show yet.
But yeah, I mean, this was good. I hope, Alex, that we covered everything. I do feel like based on some of the other Alex things that he sent, other recommendations he sent in, he tries to troll us a little bit, but I think this one overall was like a good pick. I think this was
an excellent pick. Are you kidding me? It was way more appropriate than I thought that it even could have been, right? Because it's like, it hit on so many levels in so many different weird ways that I was like, we've done a lot worse than pick stuff like that fits this well. I'm very thankful about this pick.
And I'm actually kind of glad that we did this one. Like, this wasn't intentional, but I'm now, in retrospect, I think it is maybe kind of intentional that, like, I was thinking about Finding Nemo and looking at Finding Nemo on Letterboxd and seeing people giving it, like, 5 stars. And I'm trying to think, like, movies just in general have progressed so much since, like, Pixar has progressed so much since Finding Nemo came out. I'm, like, trying to think about how I will imagine or how I will think of Finding Nemo in a world where, like, Inside Out and Toy Story 4 and, like, all these crazy, like, advanced whatever.
Yeah.
But I think comparing it to a movie more closely tied to it predated Turbo, but, like, I think that it's going to be, I can sort of compare the, like, emotional beats and the story beats and, like, the painting with a very broad brush. Pixar movies can be enjoyed by everyone, and I feel like a lot of DreamWorks are, like, mostly for kids, which is not, it's not a different way to do it. It's just, like, you know, that's what makes Pixar, right? Like, it's just, like, they're able to tell stories in a way that kind of appeals to, not every time, but generally. So I'm interested to compare this, having this sort of fresh in my mind, because I don't watch a ton of kids' movies. To Finding Nemo, which, instead of just being like Finding Nemo to like the last Pixar movie I saw, which is probably Toy Story 4 for the Hanks podcast, like, now I can compare it to another thing kind of its era, sort of. So, interesting thing here on Animation Week.
It definitely has a better fit in comparison worlds. I agree.
So let us watch the trailer. Let's see how this movie is sold. I'm going to put the trailer in right here. It is from Movie Clips Trailers, 2.4 million views from 7 years ago. Turbo Official International Trailer number 1, Ryan Reynolds, Bill Hader movie.
That title was like hit all the notes, right?
Yep.
Ryan Reynolds, Bill Hader movie.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay, 20th Century Fox, DreamWorks.
Oh, I don't understand their whole, like, tomato economy. Like, they're in somebody's backyard, right? But, like,
it's a tomato garden. You don't think that they would... I thought that a big tension point was going to be them having to kill the snails or, like, survive extermination, you know?
I would imagine that snails probably help a tomato garden because it seems like they, you know, get rid of the rotten ones or whatever. Like, this all feels like based on a reality that I don't fully understand, but
Same.
it's also like, hey, like, what can these snails be doing? Like, what can he, like, be free of, right?
Nature.
Yeah.
Mother Nature.
And he watches all the NASCAR videos. Here he is on top of the bridge. Are they going to show us the Nas part?
I would imagine so. They have to show, like... They essentially have to tell the story, right? And they have to be like, how does he become a magic snail? Yep, here we go.
Here we go. See, it's kind of a Eclipse, it's kind of a GTR, it's kind of an everything. Nas
Says nitrous oxide of
boost.
the bottle, yep. Gets sucked into the engine, swimming in Nas,
Yeah,
transforming his brain.
and his red blood cells.
Now they're blue blood cells.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Like, this is the whole movie, right? Like, this is...
Yeah, this is like, you know, like sometimes when they make like a short movie of a movie and then expand it? That's what this feels like.
This must be my lucky day.
My guess for how this trailer ends is he's going to drive, like, he's going to drive at the camera, and it's going to cut to the title.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I like that the snails all make their own car noises. That's fun, too. And they're still really slow. The snails are cute, too. The animation's cute. I like it.
It was a good-looking movie.
Yeah. I think so.
My name is Turbo. Oh, I wish I could rename myself.
Yeah, Ben Schwartz plays Skidmark. Not a great name. Okay, so they actually... It didn't end the way that I thought it was going to end.
It was
And
close.
it also doesn't even show the Indianapolis 500. It just ends kind of, like, halfway through the movie. So, like...
That's
all
good.
right. Pretty
Yeah, it didn't
interesting.
ruin everything.
All right, Joe, the letterboxed game. So good luck with this, because I think this might be a tricky one. We'll see. But for reference sake, Mad Max Fury Road, one of the most popular films on Letterboxd, has been seen by 662,000 people. 662. Turbo, 2013, directed by David Soren, starring Ryan Reynolds, Paul Giamatti, Michael Pena, and Samuel L. Jackson, has been seen by how many people?
DreamWorks is big. A lot of big voice actors. Some people have kids. 35,000.
Gotta go higher. You're too low.
55,000.
Somewhere in the middle. You're a little bit too high.
Okay.
So somewhere
42.
between 35 and 55. It is actually 48. 48,322, 48,322 people. Average rating of 2.45. Most common rating of 3, then a 2, then a 2.5. How many of those 48,000 people have it in their top 4?
Oh, 2.
More.
Really? Oh, because you said it's like a weird cult movie. That's right.
Kind of, but not really. Like, that's why I was
Okay.
hard to describe. Like, you're gonna see what I'm talking about in a couple of
11.
these. Somewhere in between 2 and 11. One more guess.
7.
8.
Okay.
8 people have this in their top 4. So here are 2. Like, it's hard to do this with anybody, but I'm going to do, first up, the account Turbo Legs, at Turbo Legs. Turbo's his
Whoa.
¡1 favorite movie. Take a guess what his others movies are.
Cars.
Thinking too broadly. Think more specifically.
Like Turbo 2, Turbo 3.
Just 4 movies called Turbo. Just 4 different movies
Oh,
called Turbo. I don't know what these other movies are, but Turbo, and Turbo. Turbo Legs.
That's awesome.
Then we're going to do JB Guarantee at JB Guarantee. Turbo is his number 3 favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
And this is, again, the kind of the cult-like thing. Name 3 of the most well-regarded movies of all time. All classics, but in both the time and critical receptions of the words.
Like Casablanca,
Nope, but you're on the right track.
Citizen Kane.
Number 1,
Okay. Fuck, like...
2 other movies that we've talked about, we have not covered, but we have brought up on this podcast before, or multiple times, I would say.
Forrest Gump.
No, older, way older, way older, way older.
Way older.
Not Forrest Gump. Never Forrest Gump. I will never describe Forrest Gump like that.
No, but I mean, come on, this is like, like one of these.
I don't think Forrest Gump is regarded as such. I think that there is a weird kind of dissonance now with that. Not even just a personal bias, but these are like unequivocally classics. Citizen Kane number 1.
Some, like...
2 movies that you love.
2 movies that I love.
Yep.
That are old.
Yep.
I love
one
old
from
movies.
the 50s and one from the 70s.
One from the 50s that I love?
Mm-hmm. I think so, pretty sure. You took a college course on this.
Oh, is it like Seven Samurai?
Yep.
And then from the 70s, what is it? The Magnificent Seven?
Nope.
Does he have the
No,
opposite
I'm talking
version?
like the most well-regarded movies of all time.
I know. Shit, from the 70s. Give me like a little bit of a hint, please.
Oranges, but not a Clockwork Orange, but oranges.
Oranges.
It's a very vague hint, but it's going to make sense.
Does it have something to do with... Isn't it Cage that always has oranges?
That's Peaches.
That's Peaches.
He also didn't start till the 80s.
No, Good Will Hunting is too early.
Oh my god, no. What's like considered like one of the best movies of all time? Like I'm not trying to oversell this. Like it's one of the best movies of all time.
I can't think of any. You said not a Clockwork Orange, not Full Metal Jacket, not...
It's not Kubrick.
Not Kubrick. I'm stuck on Kubrick now. Keep going. Oranges. I've got nothing.
Cat.
Cat.
Horse.
Horse.
Wedding.
Charlotte's Web.
No. The Godfather.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Like
yeah.
the
Yeah,
most
you're right.
obvious answer possible.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane, The Godfather,
You're right.
Turbo, and Seven Samurai.
Okay. No. The cat and the horse clue were great, but not where my brain went at all. I went animals. You're 100% right.
Yes, you know the most well-regarded movie of all time, Charlotte's Web.
I just make guesses here.
You know Charlotte's Web that has a horse and a cat in it?
I went animals. I don't know.
But yeah, so shout out to JB Guarantee. Like that's the thing where I don't understand. Like Turbo doesn't feel like that weird of a movie to be falling into this kind of trap where it's like best movie of all time, Turbo, best movie of all time. But I don't know.
That's a good joke. This is a guy that I would get along with.
But why Turbo? Like I don't understand like why Turbo and why not like some like worse. Like it just feels like such a, maybe that's the point. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like if we did this, it would be like what are the top 4 best movies ever made? You're like Citizen Kane, The Godfather, Seven Samurai, Fast and Furious 5. Wait, what? Those are the 4. That's what I got.
Like Turbo still doesn't make any sense. Like I know what he's going for. Just like feels like a weird. Like it feels like it should be B movie or feels like it should. Like I don't know. But maybe there are way more. Actually, I'm gonna look up here. Letterboxd B movie. Like it feels like it's part of a meme that I just have never seen. B movie is in 158 people's top 4. Like that's way more popular. But yeah, okay. B movie overwhelmingly 5,000 people have given it 5 stars. Yeah, people just love B movie, man.
Yeah. That's what happens.
Well, thank you once again, Alex, for picking this one. On Friday, we will continue Animation Week with Haley's pick of Finding Nemo. Joe, any other thoughts about Turbo or anything before we take a break and come back on Friday?
More well-received in our house than I even expected it to be, and I always said, like, I'm always pleasantly surprised by these, and even with that anticipation, I really enjoyed it, and it was wildly appropriate, and more than I ever thought it would be as well. I thought it was just going to be like Snails Racing, so I was like, okay, kind of like Cars, but I feel like this movie fits way better than Cars would.
I would imagine there are probably Fast and Furious references in Cars that we just don't know or just can't think of, but
yeah,
I mean, this is literally a race between Dom and Brian in Los Angeles that creates Turbo, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Well, for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you can go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com if you want us to watch Turbo or Turbo Fast or whatever. Check us out, support us over there at TooFastTooForever.com. Probably too late to get a pick in for this lap, but next year you get 1 pick per lap. So 3 different movies, you'll know all 3 themes. Get us movies to talk about next year, TooFastTooForever.com. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And we'll tell you all about it
when we see you